here in Albert Park in Auckland, where there are two old naval guns that were used in the Russian scare. The Russian scare was a naval threat. It wasn't necessarily a war in New Zealand, and because of that they set up a bunch of coastal defence sites. So these are not actually the location of the defence sites. So this one in front of me here is a 7-inch, 7-ton gun, relocated from another site, and I'm not sure exactly which one. If I find out, I might put some info on the screen, but this is really interesting because it's an example of one that was at the Gardens Battery in Wellington, which I've done an exploratory model of, and finding this particular example in this site here was really great because I was able to validate a parametric model that I developed and overlay the results of scanning this gun over the top of my model. A bit later I'll talk about how I went about the photogrammetry capture. This one here, even though it looks quite similar to the one over there, 7-inch, 7-ton, this is a 64 CWT, which might stand for 100 weight, not exactly sure, but this gun is particularly interesting because it was located at Fort Buckley in Wellington, which I've also done a reality capture example of. So just having these two here located at this site coincidentally together, and the amount of data that I was able to actually extract and test my other reality capture models with was just super advantageous. So the technical capture process that I used was a combination of photogrammetry and using the Moasure 2 Pro. It was around a year ago, so I just sort of take the opportunity to come up and explain this process a bit. Photogrammetry is the process of taking a lot of images of a particular subject, moving around it and using the parallax or the relative difference between the camera positions to then enable some software to algorithmically build up a model. So I'll flip the camera back around and show you the strategy. Looking at the two concrete slabs and the main frame of each gun, what I did was place the Moasure at each corner point and then use that to tie each slab together using long lengths between. So you can actually take up to something like 10 seconds gaps between some points, which means that the device will still register quite well. I took some sample measurements of key points along the actual frame of each gun assembly as well, just to make sure that when I came to scale the photogrammetry mesh, the actual mechanical assembly scaled in really nicely as well. So it's a bit wet, but the actual Moasure device is waterproof as well, so that makes using this outdoors really super useful. So yeah, I'll put on some images here and maybe take some models out of my archive and show you how the Moasure was used in parallel with the photogrammetry process.